Guys, what's up? It is Doug, and welcome to another edition of Spooky Villages. And today I have a review of the Coffin Parlor. It is a brand new for 2026 Lemax Spooky Town, which in 2026 is a Michaels Stores exclusive, and it retails for $89.99 at Michaels, and I got mine for a 30% off coupon. So the Coffin Parlor here, it comes with the this cardboard style box that Lemax has been using as of late. No more styrofoam, and it actually does come with a power supply as well that's in here. All right, guys, here is the Coffin Parlor. Let's go around here. Really well done theming on this one. I'll talk about that more here in in a moment. Fit and finish on this one. The paint job is okay on it. I like the finish on it though. I like how it's kind of the matte, the matte finish on it. Nothing too bright. The coffin on top here actually. Sorry, here it's vibrating there with the spring. It actually looks really good. I think the finish on that, very, very good. So here it is lit up, guys, and I gotta say this is actually pretty impressive for a town piece. I mean, temper your expectations, of course. This is not going to be like one of your big standout buildings, but I think it's still pretty well lit. Especially, I'm thinking to a couple of years ago, this piece it probably would have just been bulb lit and maybe an external light or something like that, maybe on like the sign, the Coffin Parlor sign, but it would have been much simpler. This is actually pretty well executed here. So you have the main thing that'll get your eye there is the Coffin Parlor sign with that neon green. I like that it's bright and reminiscent of a tanning bed. Then you have the scene inside is lit, so there's internal lighting, and there's a big window there. And inside there's coffins with vampire in a coffin, which is the tanning beds for this place. So you have two lights on the outside of that window as well, which help illuminate it and help illuminate the vampire figurine there. Who she's got a cabinet with looks like some towels and like tanning oil, which is it's a pretty fun little detail there. But also on the other side here, basically above the door, you have two lights for the entrance door. You have one that is lighting the sign on top there, the one that says vampire friendly tanning technology, and then below that you have a lamp that's lit. So there's a lot of lighting here, and that's not even with talking about the one on top. So there's a coffin on top, and it's got some pulse lighting going on, some subtle pulse lighting, and it vibrates the lid. There's a spring there, and you have a very scary looking vampire actually that's looks like it's coming out of it, and especially with that face on it, man, it looks pretty spooky. And the coffin looks great, as I mentioned before. And I feel like this is a detail that you almost surely wouldn't have seen a couple years ago. And Lemax has really been doing a good job with their town buildings in the last couple of years of, adding some details where it's not just like a building with a spooky name and then calling it good. Maybe put a couple figurines on top of it. I think of like the tattoo studio. There's some other ones that look pretty good this year as well. They've just been doing a good job kind of doing more with these town buildings than they maybe would have in the past. I really like the detail by the front door too. This is funny, and it's actually the font is really small on this sign, but I like this sign, and it says for the hours open dusk till dawn, and it says closed on Tuesdays, which for whatever reason I find that really funny. So while this is much better lit, and has more features than a normal bulb lit town building, you're not getting all of that for free. The price on this, the retail of it at Michaels, $89.99. Then there's coupons and stuff on top of that. Again, I got mine for 30% off, but just in general, that's more expensive than what you would see if it was just a normal bulb lit building or had very basic lighting. So I just wanted to bring that up. So yeah, guys, I think it's a well done town building. Again, it's not a centerpiece or anything, but if you've got an actual like a spooky town, I think this works well for it. And you could probably even get away with, if you had a more realistic town, putting it there, because that coffin on top could be thought of as like decor. It's not that big of a stretch to put it in that kind of town. Or if you had a true monster town, it would work for that as well. I just think this is a well executed piece. So that's the Coffin Parlor, guys. There's no soundtrack here on the building, so there's going to be no, soundtrack portion at the end of this video. So yeah, guys, while town buildings aren't always my thing, I think this is a very well done one. And Lemax in the last few years has been doing a really good job on their town buildings and doing, good theming and adding some features on them. So let me know what you guys think below. Leave a comment. Let me know. I always love reading them. Thank you guys so much too for all the comments on all the review videos this year. They've been fun to read. I'm trying to catch up on them. Yeah, thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you to my Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you soon.